What's going on, everybody? Got your boy Chris here, and we back in the fire station kitchen today. And it's Sunday here in the firehouse, so we're gonna make a Sunday supper. So, what am I gonna make? I'm gonna make some chuletas and arroz con gandules. So what is that? It's basically pork chops and rice. So the first thing we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to season our pork chops, and basically we're gonna season it with some garlic powder. Well, I'm sorry, that's onion powder. Garlic powder, some oregano, black pepper, adobo of course, and some sazon. And then I'm gonna put some olive oil in there as well. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna allow that to set for a few hours for all those flavors to come together and combine until it's supper time and we're ready to fry these bad boys up. So let's go ahead and get started. Washed. Pork chops are in there. So now we're gonna take a little adobo. Make sure we get a good amount on here. There we go. You season with your heart with it when it comes to adobo. All right, so a little garlic powder. Onion powder. Oregano. There's a lot of pork chops in here, so you know you want to season them. All right, then we have our sazon. And that's about a pack and a half I did right there because, I mean, again, you got a lot of pork chops, right? So we're gonna put a little black pepper in here as well. And one more ingredient. Can't forget about that homemade sofrito. Pop that open. Let's get us a good helping spoonful. And we're gonna marinate. All right, now that we have our sofrito in there, let's get some gloves on. You can use tongs for this if you want to, but I feel like it's best if you just do it with your hands. Get you some gloves on and mix it all together. Get in there. That's where the love's at. In there. Gotta cook with love.
Spanish later, we don't know what we're gonna be saying.
That done. Let's get these off, and we'll move into putting some aluminum foil and getting this thing into the refrigerator. All right, here's our aluminum foil. Nothing special. Again, just take it, seal it up. Now again, you could wait 30 minutes if you're getting off work or something like that or whatever. But typically I like to let mine marinate for a few hours. Again, you can do it, you can let them sit for 30 minutes, you know. But I just like, again, it's to your preference. So yeah, so here we go. Let's get these into the fridge. So, you know, we have our pork chops. They're sitting in the refrigerator doing what they're doing, marinating, right? So our next step in this process is going to be to make our empanadilla. So we're making some beef ones today. So I just have some Goya shells here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna fill them with a beef, and we're gonna make a picadillo. So we're gonna hop over here to the stove and make a picadillo. So let me show you. All right, so what we're gonna do now is make that picadillo, right? So we're gonna turn our eye on to about a medium flame here. And the first thing we're gonna get is about, we're gonna put a little bit of olive oil in here. Tablespoon of that. Then we're gonna come in here and we're gonna put about 4 ounces, half a can of tomato sauce. Just a little bit more. There you go. And we'll swirt that in. So you might be saying, well, why did I put all that oil in there, right? Well, I put that oil in there so as we build this base first, before we put our ground beef in, this is so that way none of the ingredients start to dry out or anything. So the next step is to take a small potato, and then you're going to dice it really fine. And you want to go ahead and put about half of that potato in here. The reason I'm putting potatoes in here is because this will help keep the moisture inside of the empanadilla when we close them up and when we cook them. This will just keep everything from drying out. It will help with a lot of that. All right, so our next step is to take some pimentos. That's about a tablespoon here. Put them in there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take a few Spanish olives. You don't need a lot, just a few, just like that. We're just going for the flavor. That's really it. Put them in there. Our next step is to take some sazon, 1 packet of that. Throw it in there. Now, you can choose to use a beef bouillon or chicken bouillon. I just like using chicken bouillon, so I'm going to throw that in there. Our next step is to put some black pepper. After that, a little bit of adobo. Then we're going to come in here with some garlic powder, onion powder, and some oregano. Now, let's get all that mixed up in here together. All right, now we have all that incorporated. Now we're going to put our ground beef in here. Now you can use ground turkey, ground chicken, whatever you want. Let's get this all broke down inside of here. Okay, now that we have that ground beef good and incorporated, what we're going to do, we're going to cover this for about 15 minutes. Let the ground beef finish cooking and let those potatoes get soft before removing it from the heat. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes and there it is. So it has cooked down. As you can see, it's cooked down. And so what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and get this moved over and into our... Alright, so our picadillo is complete. It's done. Now, I like to lay my empanada disc out like this, and then I have my spoon, and then what we'll do, we'll start filling these empanadas. Also, didn't mention you got to have that fork. So, you'll see here in a minute if you've never made empanadas before. So, we're going to take some of our picadillo. Some of it already fell in there. So what I like to do is just take it, get a good amount in there. Get a good amount of it in there, and then once we do that, take it. I like to keep the paper on it. It helps, it makes it easier to fold it over. So then I take that and fold it over, and then what we do, we'll crimp it down. So again, just I like to pat that down right there. Sometimes I find myself overfilling them because I just like them to be filled, and so I take it just like that. Alright, so all you're going to do here is basically just take and press it down. And you're going to do this on all of them on each side. So you'll flip this over, and then you do the same thing. That way when you fry it, it won't bust open. So we'll just repeat the process for the rest of them. Remember, flip it over. Some people forget to. I've seen some stuff that people have forgot to, and it wasn't pretty. Then they wonder why it didn't work. So, and again, when it sticks like that, you could put a little water, and then it'll be perfectly fine. Thing that I forgot to mention earlier on when I told you what the dish was, I forgot to mention that I'm going to make some tostones. So we're going to have empanadillas, we're going to have arroz con gandules, and we're going to have chuletas, and we're going to have tostones, okay? So I'm going to show you guys how I cut these and how we fry them up. Alright, so here we have it. Our plantain. What we're going to do, we're going to cut the end off of it, and then get them out of the way, and then what we'll do, we'll come down right here. So now that we have that right there cut, now what we need to do is basically go here, and we can run our finger down the side here. sometimes these are easy and sometimes they're a booger, but we'll get it. And so like I said, we'll run our finger down through there, good to go, just like that. And then we'll start peeling this, and then we'll get them cut, and we'll put it in a bowl of water like I said earlier, and then we'll go ahead and get these things ready to fry up. So see, it comes off nice and easy, no problem. And then we'll cut these up. So I have 3 of them here, and we're just going to take these and we're going to cut them in right about there, just like that. Alright, now that we have them cut up, we're going to go ahead and put them in the water and just let them sit in there for just a few minutes before frying them up. Okay, so let's make some rice. So in my caldero, which is a pot, we're going to add some oil. And we're going to let that oil just heat up just a little bit. Now that our oil is heated up, we're going to add our ham. And we're going to cook that down for just a few minutes. Now that we have that browned up, let's add some sofrito. Now let's add some tomato sauce, about 1/4 of a cup. Alright, now that has cooked together for a while, we're going to add some pimentos. You don't have to add a lot, that's about a tablespoon. And just a few olives again for flavoring. And again, you don't have to add a lot. That'd be good right there, maybe one more, make it an even number. And we'll get that all combined together. Now, let's go ahead and add 1 packet of sazon and 1 packet of ham flavoring, which that's totally up to you if you want to. I do all the time, so we'll do that. And then also what we're going to do is add 1 bay leaf to this. So we'll get a bay leaf and we'll add 1 bay leaf in there. And we'll let that come together. So also we're going to add a little bit of salt, a little black pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder. Alright, remember I said we were making yellow rice. Okay, arroz con gandules, right? So when I say that, these are called gandules, all right? So it's not a bean. A lot of people want to say it's a bean, yellow rice and beans, but it's not. This is actually in the lentil family. So what we'll do, we'll add that in there, okay? Before we add anything else with the juice. So now our next step is to take 2 cups of rice. You can use long grain or medium. I'm using medium grain rice. And the reason I like doing it like this is because a lot of people, when I was growing up, would add the water and all that stuff, then add the rice. Well, this right here allows the rice to actually absorb all the flavors. So what we're going to do, we're going to just mix this together, and we're going to allow this to come to a simmer, so that way the rice can absorb all of this flavor that we've put in here. So we're going to get this. Okay, as you can see, it has come up to a simmer. So now what we're going to do, I have 1.5 cups of water. See, and also the good thing about that, being that we use the juice from the gandules, that helps with the absorption for the rice. So we may not have to use this whole 1.5 cups. And so this can tell us the level. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add this water in. Just enough, because if you put too much, you can make your rice super soggy. So now that we did that, let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is just move this rice around in here. And we don't want our rice to be super mushy. And this looks like it's just the right amount right here. So what we'll do now is basically go ahead, we're going to cover this and let it sit for about 5 to 6 minutes until most of the rice absorbs most of this liquid. All right, so here we are. It's been about 6 minutes, and as you can see, majority of that liquid is pretty much absorbed. Now, it's not done cooking yet. All right, we just want to go ahead and move that around, and I like to try to move everything into the center. That's just me. But what we're gonna do now is turn our heat to a low medium, and we're gonna allow this to cook for about 20 minutes or so, or until it's fully cooked. So let's go ahead and turn our heat down, and then we'll cover it back up, and we'll set a timer, and then we'll come back and check on it. All right, so it's been 20 minutes. Looking. Oh yeah, it's good to go. So now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna remove it from the heat, and we're gonna allow it to just sit here and stay warm, but we're gonna remove it from the heat while we finish cooking our pork chops. Okay, so while our rice is cooking, simultaneously what we're gonna do is start to fry our pork chops. So what we wanna do is take a little bit of oil, use any kind of oil you want. Let's get us a good amount into this frying pan here. We're gonna let that heat up, and then, all right, now that our oil has heated up, we're just gonna slowly start incorporating our pork chop. So just put a few in there. You don't want to overcrowd your pan. A few in there at a time. Alright, so now we have another pan, and we have our oil heating up to make our empanadillas. Now that our oil has heated up, we're going to slowly start to put our empanadillas into the frying pan. So now we have our plantains in here. We're going to let them fry up till they're golden. We're going to pull them out, we'll smash them down, and then refry them. Here is when they're smashed down, when you're refrying them to make plantains. I forgot to shoot the video of smashing them. So that's how you make that dish. And again, thanks for hanging out with me in the kitchen on this Sunday. Firehouse edition. Until next time.